Welcome to the Pushing Shelf Podcast. I'm your host, Nick Maciel, aka the Chief Products, and this is the podcast for real entrepreneurs and real business people doing real things, solving real problems with real solutions with only real results. This is episode number 2. Thank you for those who have tuned into episode number 1. I'm here with my boy, Danny Seliger, aka @Coolness. Danny is a multi-influential, omni-channel marketing pro, content expert, and very avid and active on Instagram. He's constantly helping other people active on that platform and other platforms with their branding, their media, their content, and all things marketing. Welcome to the podcast, Danny. What's going on?
Thank you, brother. Yeah, I can be all of that stuff, but never as good with my words as you. Omni-channel, that's a new one for me. Thanks for that
That's a new
intro.
one for you. That's what you do, though, man.
I like to keep
Tell us a
vocabulary.
little bit about what you do. Give us the overview, bro. Come on, let's get into it.
Dude, I make a lot of videos for a lot of people, mainly myself. So I've posted over 10,000 times for myself across all social media platforms. We're pushing 100,000 videos total for clients on all different platforms. So I've been in the content game since I was 12 years old, making dude perfect trick shot videos in the neighborhood with the fellas back in 2010 or something like that. And then just kind of grew it from there, tried a bunch of different niches, and then was like, you know what, this social media stuff is really what I'm passionate about. I feel like we can do it at a high level. There's so many high level guys and girls that are doing real things like you're talking about in business that just don't know how to build the proper brand. And with a personal brand being such a huge asset this day and age, I found it is my calling to help them share their message. So that's the super elevator nutshell version of what I do. But we do a lot of different things.
I love it, bro. Well, definitely, I appreciate the compliment on words, but man, you have a way with words, okay? A lot of the content that you've been focusing on recently has been value-based content. When I originally met you, we never shaken hands. This is the unfortunate thing. Guys, we've never actually touched hands and shaken hands yet, but it's supposed to come. I got to visit this guy in Medellin. We'll get to that in a second. But you originally, when I met you, used to post content that was primarily related to engagement. And now you've been talking about the value of networking. You've been talking about the value of travel, different aspects to business and operations. So walk me a little bit through what your vision is, because I already see the change.
Yeah, dude. Well, I really think it just depends on whatever your goal is. And whenever I talk to anyone about content, they're like, dude, what should I do with my Instagram? What should I do with my TikTok? I always say, like, dude, what's the end goal? We got to reverse engineer this. So if my goal at the end of the day is to sell more marketing campaigns, I'm going to talk a lot about engagement and why it's so important. And I believe in it, dude. I think engagement is everything. Like, if you have 100,000 followers on your Instagram and you're getting 50 likes, like, it's a huge red flag. I think engagement's really, really important, especially in this day and age when the average viewer doesn't really trust anyone online. You have to earn people's trust over and over again. You have to constantly keep building people's trust, and one slip up, you're done. Because why should they trust you? You're a random dude on the internet that they've never met before, and there's thousands of other people trying to be just like you. So I think that engagement's really important. It's something that I'm passionate about. It's something that I do for myself, and I'd recommend to anyone trying to grow online. But that was my primary focus, was selling more engagement campaigns, selling more marketing campaigns, growing my business. Now it's kind of shift over where I understand that I have a unique opportunity in front of me. Built a really good audience at kind of a young age, and now the vision shifted a little bit, where it's like, it's awesome to sell a bunch of marketing campaigns, it's awesome to grow the business, but I'm going to be a seriously big name for young entrepreneurs coming up over the next few years. Like, now it's not like, okay, I don't want to sell more. I'll sell more as a byproduct of posting good content. But my goal right now is now to impact on a deeper level the next generation of entrepreneurs and free thinkers. So if they look at a video, it's a 15-year-old entrepreneur, and they're seeing like, oh my gosh, you need more likes and comments on your Instagram post. This is why. They're like, okay, whatever. But if they're like, look, bro, you're going to go to this networking event. You're going to feel alone and lost because you have no perceived value in the business world. I've been there, man. Here's what you do in that situation, because I had to go to 10 different networking events to figure out what the best way to talk to high-level dudes when I don't have a good business is. So I want to talk to younger guys on that level where they can be like, okay, this guy, he knows what he's talking about. He's been through the trenches, because maybe the 16-year-old viewer is scared of his first networking event. He's red in the face. He doesn't want to talk to the high-level entrepreneur because he doesn't know what to say to them. So when he can scroll on Instagram and see a video of mine, where dude, I've been to hundreds of networking events now, and I love talking to people. But when I was first there, dude, I was so shy in the corner. I was like, oh my gosh, like all these dudes have businesses. Like I want to have a business, but I don't know what to do. So I want to speak to that kid who's coming up, and I think that it's a different message that they have to give when you're looking to sell something in particular, and when you're looking to really leave an impact on a certain avatar. And neither one of those is a bad thing. Like I coach people all the time on how to sell more product off their Instagram. I think it's awesome. When you have a product like yourself, you take visions and you bring them into reality. A random idea
Yeah.
turns into a product in Walmart. I love it, dude. You want to
Yeah.
sell more stuff because that's your impact. So you're going to want to have
Yeah.
different content than me, who's just going to like really, really play the long game and talk about just like value-based stuff for real live time things that young entrepreneurs are going through. So our goals are a little bit different. So our content's going to be a little bit different. But at the end of the day, it's literally just reverse engineering it. It's like 5 years down the line or 1 year down the line, what does my ideal brand look like? What do I look like? How do I carry myself? What do I talk about? What does my page look like? What's the aesthetic like? How many likes am I getting? Who am I impacting is the biggest one. And then just like, okay, now what do I have to do to reach that person to look like this, to walk like this, to talk like this? What are the daily things I have to be doing now in order to make that happen later in the future? And then that's how you come up with the game plan.
That's awesome. No, I love it. Very succinct, and I think repeating success and seeing where it leaves clues is very important. And I think yeah, it's one thing to obviously have quality. It's another thing to have engagement. I 100% agree, and it's always a work in process for everybody. Um, so on this podcast, as I'm sure you saw episode one, and with the nature of this podcast as we're spinning it out, our focus really is big on specifics. We like to get into the nitty gritty and reveal information that people would typically have to pay you thousands of dollars for on this podcast, right? So, Mr. Danny, what is a little known Instagram hack, whether you've revealed it on your page or not, to immediately improve engagement if you were to take someone that already has quality but doesn't have numbers?
Already has quality but doesn't have numbers. I'm going to say something a little controversial here, and I will admit that I use this stuff myself. It's engagement groups on Instagram. Like you should be using them, and I'll tell you exactly why. Because let's say that you are the best in your particular field, or you are the one that's really preaching the truth and has the best vision and the best interest in the minds of the viewers. Wouldn't you be doing wrong to not do everything you can to instantly grab the trust of your audience? Because if you don't have the numbers, you don't have the trust. Some buffoon that's going to sell them on a $10,000 course that's going to be absolutely worthless is going to be using engagement groups, is going to be paying for marketing, is going to have the engagement, and your ideal client is going to trust that person because they have the engagement. So by not using engagement groups, by not investing into your marketing, by not having that engagement, you're doing your avatar a disservice because they're going to believe the buffoon that doesn't actually have the sauce and doesn't actually have their best interest in mind, but knows how to play the game online. So I would say a lot of people are like, oh, engagement groups, don't use them. Oh, don't pay for marketing, don't pay for shout outs. Okay, I'll just smoke you.
Yep, fair enough, right? And it's a similar concept in the advertising space, right? Where if you're going to get into advertising, which is a leap of a decision, right? Because if you're going organic, you're operating in your own space. You can outcompete, but there's thresholds. Just like if you're advertising, you're in your own space, you can outcompete, but there's thresholds. You want ideally both for business, but if you're going to advertise, it is a pay-to-play system. And I don't care who you are, right? If your offer is as you said, a buffoon offer, right? But you have, a trust fund budget, that's going to go way further than having the sexiest, most attractive market fit offer and having a restrictive budget. Now, there's ways to get around it, but that's the cream of the crop. That's what it is in essence, right? So that's a good tip for people to know, though. I'm in engagement groups. You're in engagement groups. Real quick, for those who have no idea, what is an engagement group?
Yeah, dude, it's really just a community where everyone kind of helps each other out. Everyone realizes that it's tough to get engagement online. It's tough to get comments. It's tough to get likes. It's tough to grow. Like there's more competition than ever before in the space right now, especially on Instagram, because everyone's now like it's like when the stock or the investment is in the newspaper, it's too late. Don't invest in it. You want to do it before other people are doing it. Right now,
Yeah.
personal brand, Instagram, be on social media. That's in the proverbial newspaper right now, where everyone's talking about it. So now there's a ridiculous amount of competition. What can we be doing that's different from the competition? Because if we do exactly what everyone else is doing, then we're going to get the exact same results, probably less because they were doing it before. They got the first mover advantage. So in essence, an engagement group is a group of people who realize that, and they're like, hey, when you post, I'm going to support you by dropping a genuine comment, and in return, when I post, you're going to drop a genuine comment on my post. So it's kind of like a show love, get love kind of thing. Now, if you're playing the game at high level, like I don't have time to sit in engagement groups every day. Like I wake up and like I know yours is too, bro. My day's freaking optimized, like to the 15-minute window. Like I'm doing every possible thing to get max leverage on the day. I can't be sitting in engagement groups. So I have people that are on my team, not necessarily VAs. I can also touch on the value of hiring assistants because that's something I've done in the recent future, and it's oh my gosh, just completely changed the game for me. I was like scared to take that leap, but now I have assistants that do that kind of stuff for me, assistants that post on social media for me, people that reach out to clients for me, so that I'm paying more money overhead each month, but I'm only doing the high leverage stuff where like I wake up and freaking move the needle instead of getting down into the nitty gritty. But I can touch on that if something you want to go into. If you want to stay on the social media wave, we can do that. If we want to talk about Colombia, dude, I'm game to yap about whatever today. You know.
Man, that's why I love having you on this podcast, and I think people love it too, man. I do actually want to touch about hiring, right? Because here's the thing, right? And I can't speak for you, but I'll try my best here. When we got into business as young guys, right? Hiring, just the word alone is a bit scary because you think of W-2 employee, you think of $100,000 a year salary, commanding high expectations, micromanagement, systems. You think about all that. Am I gonna get thrown in jail because I don't have health insurance for some guy in Venezuela? Like you have no idea what to do, right? But over the course of enough exposure and mentorship and whatever, we end up realizing that fractional contractor work, hiring virtual assistants or VAs, is not only affordable and ascertainable, but it's also very lucrative. It helps move the needle in those broom sweeping tasks in the business. So talk to
Yeah.
me about what is a VA, how you found yours, and also what are some of the tasks specifically that they drive?
Yeah, dude. So I want to talk a little bit about a different angle of not wanting to hire at first because for me, I've always been like a straight bulldog. Like I'll figure out the taxes later. I'll figure out the W-2 whatever later. Health insurance, what's that? Like I just want to get shit done. But the reason why it took me so long to start hiring was like I can do this better than everyone, so I should be the one doing it. Like I want my clients. This is my business. This is my freaking baby. I don't want anyone else touching it. It should only be me that's doing it. And I think that that's a mindset that a lot of people fall into where they don't want to delegate. And they talk about it in entrepreneurship classes that you can take in high school. Like you got to delegate. Entrepreneurs don't want to delegate. It's like it's a well known thing in the world that people don't want to delegate. But I got to sit down with $100 million CEO out to lunch for a good it was like 20 minutes or so. We were sitting down to lunch. And the thing that he said that stuck with me for the longest time was if someone can do it 70% as good as you, they should be the ones doing it. It doesn't mean that they like, oh my gosh, this person's better than me at this, so they should do it. The reality is, as an entrepreneur, as a high powered individual, you're going to be able to do a lot of things better than a lot of people. So
Yep.
if you operate off of, well, someone has to be able to do this better than me in order to do it, it's going to really limit you because, like, dude, I think I do a lot of things pretty good, but there's people that can do the things that I was doing before that just with a little bit of training and with a little bit of like, hey, this is your only task, they will be able to do it better than you. So
Yeah.
in terms of VAs, I don't use a ton of. I've never gone to onlinejobs.ph or Fiverr.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
gone the classic way. It's been like, are people getting referred to me, or am I finding people with good vibes? Like that's the biggest thing. So like the chief editor that I have right now on our team,
Mhm.
he literally just sold me in the DMs on editing my videos almost a year ago now. Like this, I was like, wow, this guy is good. I have hundreds of editors in my DMs all day. This is the guy that got my attention and that sold me and that had the best product. So I want to work with him. I didn't find him on Fiverr. I just kind of like saw that opportunity and was like, let's capitalize on it. When I got down here in Colombia, I was like, dude, I need a videographer. I went through like 10 videographers, bro. Like I was going through a different one every single day, trying to find the right person. And then one dude, I'm like, all right, bro, I'll give this guy a shot, whatever. Meet me at the cafe at 10:30. And I always work out of this said cafe, so I got there at 7:30.
Yeah, bro. You have like a cappuccino vlog on your Instagram story.
Dude, addict. But my point here is I told him, I said, get here at 10:30. I work at the cafe starting at 7:30. This motherfucker pulls up at 8:30. 2 hours early, way more stuff than I told him to have, over prepared, researched the client like crazy, researched me like crazy, and just knew all this stuff and was like, bro, we need to give the client the best service possible. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is my guy. Like if he could actually deliver on this stuff that he's saying, he's not just a yapper, we're gonna be really good friends. Fast forward 2 months, the guy lives with me now. I said, hey, you want to come film my life around the clock? And now I'm teaching him how to edit. I'm teaching him how to do the marketing. I'm teaching him how to use the groups, all of this different stuff. So I really just think it's the right people. When people say like hire slow, fire fast, I think that that's a pretty good mantra, especially the fire fast part. But like, dude, I love bringing new people into the team. If they're not a culture fit, if something's wrong in my head, like I don't want to work with them, or something that's unexplainable, but it's in my gut, like my internal compass is telling me I don't want to work with this person, I'm just gonna fire them because I've been right every single time I listen to myself. And I think a lot of people listening to this podcast will agree with me. When you blindly follow other people's advice that don't have what you want, and you know deep down inside of you that you have the right answer, and you
Mm-hmm.
don't follow that advice,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be mad. Like if you listen to it and you're going to be wrong, you're going to be mad. But if you listen to yourself when you know you're right, and then you're right, and then you just keep listening to yourself. I 100% could have said that better, but my point here is listen to yourself. You are right more times than you think. Like when I dropped out of college, for example, everyone around me, so I had a 4.0, I had a scholarship. I was paying nothing to be in college. It was awesome. I was playing Division I volleyball. I was playing beach volleyball at a pro level. And I was like, you know what? Entrepreneurship is cooler. I don't want to do this. I'm leaving. Every single person in my life was like, what are you doing? You have
Yeah.
2 years to go. All you need to do is go 2 more years and you'll be able to get this degree. You'll be able to, have the fruits of life because you have your degree. But if I had listened to that and said, oh, well, you know what? It is only 2 years. I've accomplished more than I could ever imagine over the course of this last year. Dropping out of
Yeah.
college, working my way up a company, like taking big risks, moving to Colombia, like grinding, grinding, grinding. I could be finishing up my junior year in college with minimal money in the bank account and
Yeah.
also still hating my life, probably even more because I went through another year of that. So if I had
Exactly.
listened to the common advice and stay in school, get your degree, just go for 2 more years, I'd probably be depressed right now with way less money and certainly not living in a dope spot in Medellin, Colombia, because really you never know where life is going to take you. So I will say, like, your internal compass is right. If you're listening to this right now and you're fighting an internal battle and people are telling you to do one thing, but you freaking know the answer
Yeah.
deep down and it's
Yeah.
against what everyone else is telling you, listen to yourself, bro. You are right. And guess what? If you're wrong, you can still make your decision right. If you made
Mm-hmm.
the proverbial wrong choice, you can still make your decision right by working your ass off and proving everyone wrong. Like if you make the wrong
Yep.
initial choice, you can work and make it right. So listen to
Yep.
yourself. You'll be able to hit the pillow with more confidence at night when you do that.
Oh, 100%. And I think transparency and action are best friends. So, and I think there's two binaries that are important in business. You alluded to, I think there's quality and ambition. Quality and ambition are needed together. If you have quality but no ambition, nothing happens. If you have ambition but no quality, there's nothing in place anyways.
Mm.
So with quality and ambition, the example of your videographer, the quality was in the way he presented that material to you. And I'm sure that even if he sold you on a premium, all things relative, it was much more worth it because of quality, but then there was ambition. A lot of you guys right now want to work with guys like Danny and want to send out that DM, but the only thing holding you back is either fear or imperception or a combination of both. But Danny's videographer just did the thing that you got to do. The beauty's in the work that you haven't done yet to get to a guy like Danny in order to work, not just close Danny. He didn't close Danny, he partnered with Danny, right? And that could be something that could take him the next decade. Who knows, right? So um, equality and ambition is an important binary in business. Another thing too that you just talked about is very, very important. Okay, I think is pace and understanding. Right? I think pace and understanding is very important. So you know your pace as an entrepreneur. The goal is to increase it, right? But you can't do that without understanding. And the way that you seek understanding is by finding your pace. It's a circular relationship, right? You knew that your pace was faster than those of your classmates. You knew that your pace was faster than where you were at that point in your life. You did that through understanding that it wasn't meant for you. So, bro, how are you supposed to perform at college? You wouldn't have because it's not the Danny that's supposed to be, right? So, talk to me about how someone in a particular position where they're not supposed to, in air quotes, get into business should just dive in. What were the sacrifices, like tangible things you had to actually do? Like maybe give us a little story of dropping out.
Bro, sacrifices, how much time you got, bro? Uh,
Yep.
I think it's understanding what you really want to do, and you shouldn't listen to somebody like me online if you're like teeter tottering about doing business. You're like, oh, these guys that I watch online, they seem cool. Let me do business. Let me drop everything I'm doing to go do some business. That's a terrible idea. When I tell you, it was burning inside of me that I needed to do this, and I was going to be depressed if I didn't do it. You will know when it's the right time to jump. If you're just listening to the guys that are like counting stacks in the Lambos and they're the ecom wizards and they're like entrepreneurship's easy, all you got to do is drop out and you're going to be rich. That's couldn't be fucking further from the truth. Is that I wanted to touch on something else though. When you said how could you thrive in school, like you couldn't thrive in school, I I carry a belief with me that I need to put my best effort into whatever I'm doing. So I had a perfect GPA when I was in school. I was an All American
Yeah.
on the freshman All American team in the NCAA for a sport that I didn't really want to play too much. Like if I'm gonna
Yeah.
sign my name to it, if Danny Seliger's gonna do something, it's gonna be done well, regardless of what it is. If I'm in school, do I want to be in the class? No. Am I gonna try my hardest? Absolutely. Because now, guess what? Like I get to come on this podcast and say I dropped out with a 4.0. Like I get a new story about myself. What
Yeah.
entrepreneur do you know that did that? Everyone's, oh, I dropped out with a 2.6. School wasn't for me. I hated it so much. Or I
Right.
didn't go to school at all. Like now, I get a unique story because if I'm gonna do something and I'm gonna sign my name to it, like every task you do, if you think about it as like a contract or a piece of paper, you signed your name to that. You did it. Now it's yours. You're responsible for it. Are you gonna be the person that just like slaps everything together, throw it away, and just hope for the best? Or are you gonna be like, maybe I don't want to do this task. Maybe I don't want to make this call. Maybe I don't want to do this assignment. Maybe I don't want to go to the gym. Maybe I don't want to go on this podcast. But because I agreed to it and because it's something that I'm doing, I need to do it to the best of my ability, and that's my duty. And people are gonna recognize that. Like people knows like this motherfucker's on point, bro. This dude takes care of himself. This dude cares about what he does, and that's a big lack in the world today. Where like, you look at Gen Z, everyone just wants to doom scroll on TikTok or Instagram Reels all day.
Crazy, man.
Some real work. Hard work and passion is a real commodity. When it comes to
Yep.
my company, like I can deal with people being incompetent. I can deal with people not being smart, but I can't deal with people not being committed. Bring them to me stupid and hungry. I will
Yep.
transform.
Absolutely. And I'll say something right now, right? Like I 100% agree with you, right? The kind of caliber and character that you are and that you've become is someone who would apply their absolute top standard to any situation. That desire though is what's gonna, the one crutch you had was that depression, right? And so there will always be something inside that will move the needle towards where you want to go. You just have to listen to it. So that goes into the next topic I want to segue into, which is intuition, right? Okay, intuition in business I think is, honestly, I don't know if you agree with this, Danny, but I think that it is underhyped. I think intuition and listening to your gut, I think is underhyped, and I think it's more so with the personal branding space. Now that everyone's into personal branding, I feel like people are looking more for templates and the fast way out and the cookie cutter of how do I have a strong personal brand. So they throw up somebody that they like, but it's not authentic to who they are, right? Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean I've lost plenty of business to people that say here's this silver bullet way of growing online. It's only 10K. Whereas like my stuff, it's not going to be easy. I'm going to say like, look, dude, this is going to require a lot of work, but you're going to get real results. I'm not going to sit here and tell you like when you ask me like what's a way that someone can like instantly get value or instantly start growing online. I went initially to engagement groups because that's the one way that you can instantly start growing online, where it might be like for vanity metrics or whatever you want to call it. The reality is you need to just put in the work. Like you're going to post 100 videos, none of them are going to do well, except maybe the first one you post online because the platform wants to get you hooked on the platform. So they're going to give you a little bit of love on your first video, and then your next 99 are going to absolutely tank. That's just the
Yeah.
reality. So, do you want to go through that? Are you willing to go through that? How badly do you want the end result? And I want it pretty freaking bad. So odds are I'm going to smoke people because no, dude, no one is going to play this game with as much obsession as me. Because when you said sacrifices and I said how much time do you have, I've put so much on the line for this dude. Like no one's going to play the game with the same amount of intensity I have because everyone's just playing for fun. They're on casual mode, dude. I'm playing ranked. I'm playing ranked to go up as high as I can so that I can be one of the greats. And a lot of people just aren't doing that. You're going to have to make sacrifices, dude. Like the first relationship I ever had was it was blossoming in college when I was doing nothing. Like we were, hang out all the time, watch movies, go out to dinner. I wasn't really doing too much business. That relationship was blossoming. I drop out of school, shit starts getting rocky. I'm like, dude, I need to be putting in 14, 16, 18 hours every day because I'm working towards this dream. I got to work to make my decision correct. Because if I drop out of school and I sit back and I carry myself the same way, if I'm, calling it a day at 6 p.m. so we can watch Love Island and have popcorn, my decision's not going to be right. It's not going to be the correct one.
Yeah.
So I have to make these sacrifices. And now it's like, okay, which do you want? Do you want to, continue to work 14, 16, 18 hours a day working towards your dream? Or do you want to have me? And you have to make that tough choice. It's like, you know what? I'm going to continue doing what I set out to do because I committed to this. So there's a sacrifice. Dropping out of school, I mean, dude, I could have had a diploma. I could have finished out a really good Division I career in volleyball. I had a lot of friends there. I had a lot of friends there that weren't in business. And I think that that's something that's undervalued. Everyone wants to say like, oh, your friends need to be doing business. Your friends need to be in business with you. They need to be your employees, your clients. Those are your friends, your partners. Those are your friends. I think that having friends outside of business that like really aren't into it, that you can just shoot the shit with, truckle with, and like get some energy out, and like, oh right, like I am a human for a little bit. I think that that's really valuable. So I left those guys. I love them to death. They're some of my best friends to this day, and that was tough because now like you make that sacrifice. It's like, okay, as much as I want to have friends that aren't in business, like my day doesn't really allow for it. I wake up and I'm doing stuff I set out to do every single day. Boom, 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 boom. And honestly, a lot of the time, and none of that is, jump on group FaceTime with the boys or jump on NHL or jump on MLB The Show or jump on Fortnite. It just doesn't come up throughout the day. So those are the sacrifices you got to make. But the people who make the sacrifice, commit to the sacrifices, it's really tough to compete with us because we've already sacrificed it. It's already done. It's already in the past. I'm not gonna go back to my ex and say, hey, I made the wrong choice. Let's cuddle tonight at 5 p.m. I'm now ready for some Love Island. It doesn't work like that. I already made the choice. I made the commitment to this. So you who's in a relationship or someone else who's in a relationship that is going to choose the Love Island life with a partner that's not committed with them, I'm going to smoke you because I'm taking it more seriously. So now, we'll hold out until someone comes along that's right, that can integrate in with it. That's another big thing. I heard from Andy Elliott was the first person. I sat front row at one of his events. That guy is a legend. I'm doing mentorship with him right now. I'm sponsoring one of his events in July with Patrick David. He is a real beast. I think he gets a bad rep for absolutely no fucking reason. He just wants the best for everybody. But what he said is balance isn't a thing. Integration is. Can the people around you integrate into what you're doing? Because, dude, guys like us, high-powered dudes, I don't know about you, but I can't turn this off. Like, I can't. I go to sleep at night thinking about the KPIs of the business and how we can freaking hit them the next day. And if the partner that's sitting next to me, when I'm going through this super grind time, is going to be like, babe, turn your entrepreneur brain off and watch the fucking Love Island. It's not going to work. I can't do it. So we have to be integrated in with each other. Same thing with like, I don't know how old your audience is, but Andy talks a lot about with like the kids. The kids need to learn. The kids need to be integrated and stuff. The kids are flying around the country and going to the events and watching them speak and stuff like that. So can the people that are in your life integrate into what you're doing? Because I don't know. What do you think about this, bro? Do you agree with balance? I don't think balance exists. At least in my world, it just doesn't. Because my fun is this is fun.
Yeah, in my world, I think that I'll challenge this a little bit. I think balance exists, but it's how balance is defined, right? So I think that everybody has balance. Why do I say this? Danny, you just took a sip of water during a podcast. If you weren't hydrated, which is part of balance in your life, right, then you wouldn't be able to get through another 10 podcasts in a row, right? So everyone has balance in their life. It's just at a different caliber, right? So the balance of me yesterday is not the balance of me today. Okay, I also sacrificed a relationship that was fruitful on the whole Love Island versus entrepreneurship tip in order to pursue what I needed to. And what's interesting is the breakup was in good faith, and that's because you have to, there's no enmity there. But the thing is like, and she'll find someone who fulfills her needs, and we will find somebody who fulfills our needs, type of thing, right? So it's about actually there being a better match and adjusting your balance. So I would say that adjustment is more important than the balance itself. So what does my balance look like today? It might be the fact that I'll squeeze in a good stretch before an exercise. It might be the fact that I'll actually integrate a book because I can at this level of scale in my business before I go to sleep so that I'm not looking at blue light. It might be the hot shower that I still take because I don't want to smell like shit. Right? So that's still balanced because we could be cave dwellers that are psychopaths at the same time, right? If we wanted to, we could be psychopathic cave dwellers, right?
I say there's no balance for the audience. I do shower daily. So when you're talking about like, the balance is, well, see, this is what I mean by this, because your balance is a book, exercise, showering. To
Yeah,
me, that's all in the ecosystem, the nucleus that is like personal development. The end goal, dude,
exactly.
the end goal is not money. The end goal is not balance. The end goal is to be laying on the bed at 85 years old, God willing to get to live that long, and saying, "Damn, bro, I lived a good life." Like I don't
Yep,
regret anything. If that's not the goal, then what is? So I
yep.
think that in order to achieve that, we just need to develop ourselves all the time, constantly get better every single day. So yeah, dude, I love watching YouTube. I love watching Iman Gadzhi. That dude pushes me, bro. Cause I'm 21, and a lot of the time when I'm in certain places and environments, go to networking events, and people find out about my Instagram or the business that I run and stuff. They're like, "Wow, dude, that's crazy at 21. When I was 21, I was doing this, 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 this." So I need to surround myself with people. I need that Iman Gadzhi on the other side of the screen to be like, I made my first million when I was 18 years old. And I'm like, fuck,
Mhm,
I'm
mhm.
such a loser. And I love having that because there's constantly something to chase. So I think that there's a
Yeah,
few different levels to it. There's the people that you have that are on your level that you can, mastermind with, make moves together, share like similar insights with, and like bond with, stuff like that. There's the people that are on your level. There's the people that are above you where you're reaching your hand up and they're grabbing your hand and helping pull you up to the next level. But it's important to
yeah.
also be putting your hand down as well, because we've all been at the lower level when we're first starting out, when we're at that networking event, when we don't want to make that sales call, when we went 0 for 50 on our first few like sales calls, and you think it's just not for me. Like, so you need to put your hand down and grab some other people and bring them up with you, because if you can bring other people up and those people are willing and accepting of the information that you're giving them and maybe even bought into your vision, you could have a
Yeah.
real dedicated soldier on your team. If I'm like, "Look, dude, I'm going to bring you in under my wing and I'm going to teach you everything I know so that I can take my brain out of my head and put it into yours, and we're going to do this together," man, it's powerful. So it's
Yeah,
finding the balance
absolutely.
between the three of those levels, and keeping it. Because if you're only the guy reaching up, you're not gonna have anyone to relate to. You're gonna smoke people really, really fast, and that's something that I witnessed. Whereas, like, I was only reaching my hand up, I wasn't helping anyone below me, and I didn't want to like camaraderise or whatever. The word
Yeah,
camaraderise with the guys that
yeah.
are on my. See, I'm not as good with the words as you, but with the guys that are on my
Um,
level. And I had no friends, and I had no
yeah,
people who really look up to me, because I was just reaching my hand up and trying to level up, level up, level up. And then I leveled up a bunch, and then it was like, okay, who are my friends? Like, where did everyone go? Kind of thing. So it's important to keep that balance.
yeah, absolutely. No, I think it's important to acknowledge that sometimes you got friendship and partnership. Sometimes you got partnership and friendship. Sometimes one or the other, right? Like those are two distinct things. And I think that one of the biggest sacrifices, which I'm sure you actually mentioned that you made in college, was getting rid of, not getting rid of, but severing some ties with some friends in order to focus down, and obviously the girlfriend and everything like that, right? I want to talk a little bit more about how you integrate people as an entrepreneur. You're very individually active, but there's a lot behind the scenes. You've got a team supporting you. You just got the videographer in house in Colombia. Um, but talk to me about like how you build a team, because you mentioned hire fast, fire faster, but how does Danny approach building a team? How do you identify a need, and then when do you go and hire?
Dude, I mean, I know we like to be super actionable, and when I do podcasts too, I love to be as actionable as possible. But I'm also a big believer in, like, I'm not gonna preach something that I don't know anything about. I view myself as a flaming nucleus, and the people that I have around me add into the nucleus, and the right people will come in. Like, dude, if I wasn't like a ball of energy a majority of the time, I don't think that the team I'd have around me would be around me. Like, if I jumped on Zoom and I was like, "Guys, who's editing what videos today? Did you get the video done? Do the video. Okay, awesome. Thanks, man." Like, I wouldn't have the team I have. I was like, "Dude, it's
Yeah,
7 a.m. on a Monday, man. Let's fucking go. Like, let's
yeah,
have a week." Like, I think that attracts the right people. And
it does.
certain times I think you need to go out. It's like, oh wow, like, I need this now. Like, we have more
Yeah,
more raw content that we know what to do with. We need more editors. Let's hire more editors. But I think that, like, the close roles, or like the executive assistant, or the people that are gonna live with you. Because I have two guys that live with me right now that are on my team.
mhm,
And I think that those
yeah,
kind of guys, they attract themselves to you. Like, I didn't go outbound to get either of the guys that are closest to me in the business right now that handle most of the
right,
day to day stuff for me. It was like they presented themselves to me. I'm like, huh, I
mhm,
kind of like this guy. Can you go through these different hoops in order to make me like you even more? And then you do,
yeah,
and then you consistently impress me, and they're happy because I'm teaching them a whole bunch about all of the bullshit that I've been through to get to this point. Like, wow, I can learn a bunch from this guy and earn, and build onto a vision that actually exists and that I see progress in. Because
Yeah.
the vision selling is everything. Because if you're gonna do something, like bro, I have such a big vision, dude. I can't stop thinking about it. Like where I'm gonna be in 2 years, where I'm gonna be in 5 years, where I'm gonna be in 10 years, where I'm gonna be in 30 years. Like I don't even it gives me chills to think about where I'll be in 30 years. But if I can relay the excitement I have about the vision to other people, because I mean, dude, you and I both know this. Like some people's visions, they aren't as big as ours. Like I classify as a visionary, dude. I wake up and think about the vision all the time. I eat, sleep, and breathe it.
Yeah.
I can't stop thinking about it. Other people's aren't that big, and they never experienced that rush of having a vision. Like, oh my god, this is where we're going. All we have to
Yeah.
do is work like maniacs to get there, and then we'll have this life. A lot of people haven't
Yeah.
experienced that. So if you can sell that vision, people will be like, hey, look, this is where we're going. This is what I'm doing on a daily basis to get there. Like I wake up and work like a pig every single day too. Like I'm not just telling you to do a bunch of stuff. Like I'm working like a dog also, but this is where we're going. Keep pushing.
Yeah.
We might not see it just yet. Setting proper expectations. Look, dude, we're gonna eat shit for 6 months before we see a bunch of cool success. Now all of a sudden we have a penthouse here in Colombia, 3 team members in house, including myself, and it's like okay. But guys, like this is step one. I was talking about this. You see what I mean? Like I'm not bullshitting. I'm not just talking because obviously you can sell the vision all you want. You can yap about what you're gonna do. But if you're not waking up and putting in the work every single day and there's no signs of progress, the team isn't gonna believe it either. I sell the vision hard to my team every single day, but I also wake up and they know I work. I'm on the furthest west time zone on my team, and our morning meetings are early, so they know that I'm showing up to the meetings with the most energy. And that's had the least amount of sleep where it's earliest for me. Okay, this is our leader. And then
Exactly.
I'm all day too. And then they're gonna see me working late nights with the 9 p.m. cappuccino, like you're saying, the cappuccino vlogs on the story, you're an absolute addict. But sometimes what's necessary, man. You're in a grind period, and you need to do what you need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about structure for you. I want to pivot into that a little bit. Obviously, you're rocking those cappuccinos, and there's a lot behind them. What would you say at this current stage in your business? Now, dude, it's crazy because a year ago, or some change, but about when I was on FaceTime or Zoom with you, and I had met you either for the first or second time, you were 30 pounds lighter. You were wearing big spec glasses, and you were sitting in effectively an all brick dorm, I think on campus, with like 2 or 3 flags behind you, and you look like a younger brother version of yourself today, right? So
for anyone editing, just pull up those pictures. There's plenty of pictures in the drive. You guys pull those up for this.
Yeah. For those
This is a real conversation that we had a year and some change.
we'll pull this up on the screen. And and by the way, I want to announce this a little bit here in the podcast. If you guys are on Spotify and you're listening, you're probably listening to the gorgeous sounds of Danny's voice and my voice. However, if you actually pop up the little caret widget on the upper left corner, if you're on iOS at least, you'll be able to see this video like, hi, now you can see us, even when you're driving, but don't text and drive. But we'll get this picture pulled up. Dude, you're different. And my question to you is, you were hungry in the way that someone month one is hungry, right? I've been there. I know it. You know it, which is DM, volume, right? Now, that's still part of my process. I'm sure it's still part of your process. It's outsourced partially. It's in-house partially, whatever, right? What percentage now, a year in, is your percentage fulfillment, percentage sales, percentage other? So talk to me about,
That I'm doing today.
Yep. What's your schedule?
Dude, I'll tell you this, and this is, and it goes good because you're the product guy, bro. If you master the product, everything else will follow. Now, I've made some big changes to, like what I'm representing, the products that I'm like backing, the products that I'm creating, digital or in person. And that's been the biggest shift because it used to be fucking get your 100 messages out every single day. Make sure you reply right away. Make sure you get on the phone right away. Otherwise, you won't close deals. When I shifted from like front end, like you need to just get as many messages out as possible to just fucking make the product so awesome that everyone just tells other people about it. Dude, over the last 3 months, I've done no outbound, no ads, no marketing, just like posting content on my page, just posting stories, and then servicing clients, and clients being like, dude, hey, friend number one and friend number two, you were talking about social media, right? I just met this guy, Coolness. He's a freaking beast. Talk to him. And then they get on the call with me, and like I don't need sales skills at this point. It's just,
Yeah.
what do you want? I want XYZ. Okay, I can do that. How much does it cost? It costs this. Awesome. Here's my card. Like that's what the sales calls have been going like after I perfected the product. But if the product's
Yep.
not perfect and everyone's talking kind of bad about, oh, he seems really cool online. He portrays a really good image, but like when you actually, what's it like when you actually buy from him? It's not that good. That'll kill you. Bad reviews online will kill you. I've lost money on clients in the past, and there's actually one like in live time that I'm losing money on because he was unsatisfied with the product. So I went and redid everything. I'm flying somebody out to his city because he was in person with me. So now I'm flying a videographer out to his city and redoing everything for him. I'm losing a bunch on it, but like that's why I'm doing business. I'm not doing business for the money, bro. Anyone can say they're doing business for the money. I think that no one's motivated by money. I will go on record.
Danny, you and I spend that. People like you and I spend that. If I make a 10K month or a 20K month, I'm gonna spend it all.
Bro,
Just being fully transparent.
think about it this way: if you have an employee and you're going to motivate them with money, they're going to hit 10,000 a month and be like, well, this is the life I want to live now. I've made it to 10K a month now. I have everything that I want. Let's stop working as hard. Whereas if there's like a leaderboard or a competition or like a punishment for the bottom, like, dude, I remember every sales team I've been on, I've been at or near the top every single time, every single month. And what pushed me at the end when I already had enough money for the month I wanted was that I was fucking number 2 on the leaderboard and some other motherfucker was number 1. Like, I didn't need the extra few $100 that I was going to get. I didn't need the extra couple clients. I just needed my name to be above the other person on the leaderboard, just so the person couldn't say anything to me. So I think that obviously there's different things for everyone. Not everyone's going to get motivated by a leaderboard, but I think I will go on record saying that no one is motivated by money at the core. Because if let's say I want to make as much money as possible, why do I want to do that? Is it because I want to buy my aunt a golden retriever farm in Vermont? Is it because I want to start a business with my mom? Is it because I want to show my brother what's really possible in this world instead of just going through college? Like that, it's not the money. But if I make enough money, I can do stuff like that. Because like I think that the more money you have, it just is an expansion of your character. If you're a shitty person at the core and you make a bunch of money, you're going to be a more shitty person. You're going to start making beverages that are literal poison for people and marketing them as really, really good stuff. And I know that you put a smile on your face now because you know exactly what I'm talking about. But if you're a good,
I love competitors. Yes.
Yeah, you love the competitors. Yeah, fuck Nick's competitors.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But for real, hey, you already know what this is right here. And for those who are not who are listening and not watching, shaking a can.
Matty O's. If you're
my friend.
in any store near you and you see Matty O's and you don't buy, you are a loser. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Put in a testimonial. Great people behind the product, because any product can be really good, but I think what matters most is the people who are behind it. I know all 3 of the main guys behind this product personally, and all 3 are great dudes at heart. Like, there are people that are in it for a buck, and there are people that are in it to make a difference. All 3 of the guys that are behind this Matty O cereal product are fucking class at heart. Good dudes, and they're making a good product. Do you guys ship to Colombia, though? That's the biggest question.
Yeah, so I appreciate that, Danny. So yeah, for those who are listening and they have no idea what we're talking about, so we're releasing the country's and the world's first less than 10 ingredient, all organic, animal-based whey protein cereal, which is targeted primarily for those who are health conscious and athletes, but is friendly for the entire family down to the infant who has already teethed and can eat cereal correctly. So it's a great product. It's going to be sold in protein tubs in the cereal aisle, so it's one of a kind, branding and product quality wise. Tastes like Ghirardelli chocolate, but has no crappy ingredients because we didn't get sold out by the lobbyists in the food and bev industry. I spent approximately a month and a half to 2 months on the sweetener blend alone, calling the manufacturer back and forth with my client Maddie, who's the co-founder of this business. And when I tell you guys that you're going to want this in your pantry soon. You're going to want this in your pantry soon. So to answer your question, Danny, Colombia and international shipping is going to be, unfortunately, second round of production. However, first round of production going domestic in the U.S. nationwide. We're going to do a little bit of acquisition and reshipment on a personal level. I'm going to get you some free product, and I need an excuse to visit Colombia, so we might be able to hybridize something.
Yeah. Mule them in here.
Yeah, exactly. So we got to get that plan there. But going back to talking about the product being excellent. Okay, the reason I call myself the chief product is my homage on social media, my personal brand, is because I entered a space where, like you, Danny, as you said, I have lost tens of thousands of dollars in debt that I'm still paying off to marketing programs that promise a silver spoon. Now, the thing is most of you who are entering, if you're listening to this podcast and you're entering business for the first time, you're going to lose money. The reason you're going to lose money is because if you're someone of ambition, wow, what a concept, right? But you're going to lose significant money is an important thing, because if you're someone of ambition, that means you have a high risk tolerance, and if you have a high risk tolerance, it means that you're going to buy into those things that are 50-50, right? And so you have to learn the hard way to eventually learn easier ways as you go along, right? Failure compounds, right? Just like success. So if you have an excellent product, you do not need to sell. I actually believe this, and it's something that the industry does not talk about enough. The reason I call myself a cheap product, and Danny, you don't know this is the first time you're hearing this. I'm slowly starting to pivot my reels, my stories, my content towards what I believe is the new currency on social media, which is authenticity. I feel like the fast people, the fast marketers, coaches and consultants, this, that, and the other, they are eventually either going to get a solid class action lawsuit against them from clients that never got the result, or people are just going to be just pissed off at the saturated space, right? I'm coming out of the woodwork saying, no, 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 no. We got to get your product nailed down as the vector for your brand in order for you to sell. Whether you sell services or products on top line, we've got to get the quality of the product down pat, right? And that requires actual hard work, long hours, months, and doing business the right way. It's always been done before the internet, as opposed to following the wave of the last 3 years on Instagram, right? Big whoop, right? Big surprise, right? So I wanted to actually turn that into a question for you, right? Are you seeing this as well? Are you seeing authenticity as the new currency?
I agree with that. I'd be curious to hear more of why you're calling it a currency, but I think that eventually people are going to see through the bullshit of everyone online. Because, dude, it's like I know a lot of these guys that are like in big cities that drive the big cars, and they're like they're guys that are my age, and they're the ones online. They're like, I drive a fucking Lambo, dude. I drive a 2010 Chevy Cobalt with 165,000 miles on it with a different color hood than the actual car, and I make more than these guys. You compared before, like, and I think that there's a reason why certain people are attracted to me, because you can't speak with like the caveats and the confidence if you haven't been there before. Like, people can tell who's reading off a teleprompter, and it's like, or who's like, damn, that motherfucker's been through the trenches. It's like when I keep going back to the networking example at networking events. I was literally scared shitless all the time at these events. I'd go to the Grant Cardone 10X Summit, stand there, and hope someone walked up to me and I could say, and then wouldn't even know what to say. So I can talk to that person who's there, and they can know that I didn't just chat GPT what's the average person feeling at a networking event when they don't have any value. It's like, no, dude, I lived it. I went to 10 events where I was just red in the face the whole time and couldn't put a sentence together in front of people. And now, like, after going to hundreds of them, after talking to high level dudes, after having billionaires with a B in my phone who know who I am, who I could call as long as it wasn't for no reason. Now you talk a certain way because you've been through it. So I want to touch on something where you had said, like, when you get into business, you're going to lose money. And I don't know if you saw me on the other end of the screen going, whoa,
Yeah. Well, no way.
When I had my first 9 businesses that failed, I had Amazon FBA, I had 2 different Shopifys, I had a clothing brand, I was flipping sneakers, I was flipping clothes, I was trading stocks, I was trading options, I was trading crypto. I've done literally every business that you could think of. Every one where you'd get hit with an ad and say, this is the best way to make money online by doing this. I bought all of those courses, dude, and I failed at all of them because my expectation going into it was that it was going to be easy, and I was just missing this tiny piece, this one tiny strategy in order for me to make millions online from my phone by working 1 hour a day. And I believed that. And I was like, well, I must be an idiot because I'm not a millionaire and I work 1 hour a day off my phone every day implementing these exact same things these gurus are doing. And that's why, bro, I was like, maybe business is for me. Maybe I should go to college. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. When I accepted that this company that I'm starting, I am going to wake up and get punched in the mouth repeatedly, over and over again. You wake up, you put out fires, you put out some more fires, you get punched in the mouth, you punch back, and then you go to sleep, and then you wake up and do it again. And every once in a while, you get a cool perk. If you find the fun in that getting punched in the mouth, the difference between me and the next guy is that proverbial punch in the mouth. I love it. Like, I wake up and I'm like, this is what I fucking signed up for. So it's going to be difficult for an entrepreneur to compete with me or to compete with you that wakes up and is like, oh, entrepreneurship, it's going to be fine and dandy. I wake up and I'm an entrepreneur. Oh my God. Those people get crushed. Like, the people that know that it's going to be tough, you're going to lose money. Probably all of it. If you're doing it the right way, you're going to get scammed. People are going to stab you in the back. You're going to lose a bunch of people. You're going to make a bunch of sacrifices. You're going to lose all of your money. You're not going to have as many friends. And it's going to suck every single day. There's going to be some shit that fucking sucks
Yeah.
every single day that
Yeah.
you have to deal with. Like that's the
Yeah.
reality. But people don't want to
Yeah.
believe it. People want to be, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. I wake up and I do whatever I want. Those people are poor. They are better off getting a 9 to 5 because they'd make more and then they'd have some benefits on the side too if they went and got a job. Or come work for someone like me. I love hiring failed entrepreneurs because they realize how hard it is to be in your shoes and they respect it. So that's my 2 cents on it. Dude.
I love the fire.
Is the currency.
Thing that you,
Hard work is the
yeah,
currency.
dude.
No one fucking works hard, dude. I love hard workers.
Yeah, no, same. I agree. I always said it's never been easier to be above average, right? Meeting a guy like you, Danny, is inspiring because it just reinforces in me that I'm not insane, right? And I think you can probably say the same, right? It's one of those things where, and what you talk about, some people are going to listen to this podcast, right? And they're going to say, like, I get it in terms of they think they get it, but to them it sounds very difficult. And I'll say, if you're listening to this, here's a good gauge of if you're in the game or not. If it sounds difficult and unascertainable, you're probably not in the game yet, or you're on the journey to get there. But if you're in the game, what Danny just described with fiery passion about it sucking every day is actually quite absorbable and enjoyable almost to a certain extent because you know that you go through this every day. And so you don't question it and you know that it's part of the process and it's not a big deal anymore because it can't go away. So I want to talk a little bit about, going back to this authenticity thing. I'll give you an example and I want to see what you think about this. You say that people come inbound to you more and so more word of mouth referrals, which is fucking awesome. And you don't have to sell as hard or look at top of funnel as much, right? Now, this is starting to happen to me too. What's interesting is that I, as you know, have created my own niche in product development, right? And it's come a long way of like, I had to get my actual industry validated by the market online before I could get my offer validated by the market. So I'm finally coming around the bend to your point. I'm starting to get his sister and his cousin and then this other entrepreneur in my DMs inbound. I'm meeting now more for coffee in Florida than I am over Zoom, right? Which is fucking fantastic. It's exactly what I want, right? And what's excellent about what I'm able to do now, and I want to, once again, I want to see what you think about this and if you resonate with this, is today, for example, I got together with a client who had a product idea for in the beverage space. Obviously can't disclose much, but I met with her in person for coffee, and I basically tell her, I'm not telling her, I basically tell her this is the development process. For your particular product, I expect it to take probably 4 to 6 months. It's going to suck. It's going to be hard. My program is not easy. You're going to have questions about the manufacturer and the supply chain. At the end of the day, though, you're going to own the whole business, the whole supply chain. We're going to be in production. We're going to be retailing. And you're going to have an e-com store that's converting. But you're going to question your existence every single day. And she just goes, wow, sign me up. No, but she goes, wow, sign me up. And what I've learned, Danny, is that I've just been so brutally honest because my product is so good and so high quality. I even told her this is going to be a 5-figure upfront cost for 4 to 6 months of development, significant investment as CPG brands. And she goes, yeah, it makes sense. Checks out. Send me the proposal and we'll get another coffee in this week and we'll just proceed. I'm like, okay, done. Sounds good, right? Whereas in the past, I had to be like, DM, right? As soon as I let go of the bullshit and the fabrication of a little this, a little that, and I had a high quality product, I don't have to sell. I don't sell to anybody. I just talk, right? Do you feel the same way about what you're doing?
100%. I'm gonna try my best to give an analogy. If somebody tells you, like let's say you're going to the DMV, and somebody tells you it's probably it'll be a 10-minute wait, or you better yet, you're at a restaurant, and the server says, yeah, your food will be out in 10 minutes, and it takes 30 minutes. You're like, motherfucker, the fuck's my food, bro? But if they say, look, dude, we're really packed right now. Like, if you want to eat here, it's probably going to be like an hour or so wait until you get your food. And then it takes 30 minutes. You're like, wow, 30 minutes. That's half the time they told me it was going to be. But you still waited 30 minutes. But if you told them it was going to take 10 and then it takes 30, then they're pissed. But if you told them it's going to be an hour and then it takes 30, now they're really happy because you went above and beyond. And they believe you more at the beginning because you're being brutally honest with them. You're not just saying whatever it's going to take to sell them. You're just like, yeah, it's fucking packed right now. You may not even want to eat. It's going to take an hour. But there's a
Yeah.
reason why so many people are here is because our food's fucking good. So if you want to wait an hour, that's what it's gonna take. Whereas if you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 10 minutes, come on in, have your food in 10 minutes. At minute 11, my food, thirty
What are we
minutes.
doing?
It's bullshit. But it's gonna take an hour, and then it takes 30 minutes. Oh my gosh, this restaurant, the food is great, the people are nice, they got the food out in half the time they told me it was gonna be. What a day! I
Yeah.
think I think one
Literally.
one word to sum up everything you just said was expectations. Setting the expectations.
Expectation. Absolutely. When I got into business with Maddie, I'm like, Maddie, get ready to take out lunch. Get ready to take out lunch. You're trying to finance equipment. We're
Or
trying
just
to finance equipment.
alone.
I'm just a straight shooter. Bro, we have to finance equipment. We got to finance inventory. We got to finance packaging. We got to finance formulation. We got to pay the big man at Uncle Sam. We got to do all this, okay? And it's going to be done in half a year, and we're going to be producing. Which, by the way, for those who are wondering when the cereal is being produced, it's being produced as we speak. It's coming out end of this month, June. I don't know when people are going to listen to this. It's going to be a big launch. People are going to wake up and be like, "What the fuck, protein puffs?"
I
Um,
I had the privilege of watching this from the beginning, bro. I remember when Matteo told me the first time, he's like, "Yo, I'm starting a cereal brand." I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "What?" And
yeah,
I've gotten the privilege to go from like, "You're doing what?" And I actually have a video in my phone from July
nice.
2021 when we hung
Yeah,
out in Pompano Beach, Florida, and we were in Walmart, and Matteo was like,
yeah.
cereal's gonna be here in a couple years. And like I was taking a video just for him to kind of have where you're like low key chuckling on the inside, like, okay, yeah, dude, you're gonna have a cereal over there. And then like I that video felt like gold when this process was going through. I was like really really proud of you guys, especially Matty. I don't know if he's listening this far on the
Proud of
like,
Maddie.
I'm fucking proud of you, man. Like this is sick stuff.
Yeah. Very proud of Maddie. Consistently proud of Maddie. I feed Maddie the consulting and the information. I process the manufacturing. I get him what he needs. And every single time he's been like, I understand that the impact that this has on the structure of the product and the organization, I'm going to take it, right? His level of confidence, risk, and trust into a business like this has been instrumental. So I want to give credit to you, Danny, for the point you made a bit earlier where you said it's not just about the product, it's about the people behind it. Because I, will be the first, and I'm sure you're the same, to like imagine, right? Some guy says, "No, Danny, I'll pay you the 10K invoice or whatever the price is to do the whole fly out, film, compile, all that, right?" And you're like, and the guy's like, "By the way, like, I don't know, this is a funny example, but like, I'm a registered sex offender." You'd be like, "Listen," you're gonna be like, "Listen, I appreciate the fact that I'm about to get 10K in the door, but I probably don't want to work with you on this. Like,
Better
you're gonna
example,
deny, you're gonna
better
deny the client."
better example is
Yeah,
OnlyFans. I've denied so many like OnlyFans managers, OnlyFans models, stuff. I
yeah,
just won't do it. They'll be like, because they have the money for it. They're like, dude, I'll literally pay you extra to do this. I'm like, it's just not what I stand for. Like, I don't want
yeah,
people to think OnlyFans when they think of coolness, when they think of brand shark. Like, it's just not what it needs to be. Like,
yeah, yeah. See, that's a great example because that would go against my moral compass as well. And so I'm not going to encourage that behavior. I'm not going to do business with that, right? It's funny because when you get to a point where you respect your own boundaries, then naturally the people that come to you more often are like the people you want within your boundaries because that referral network that you're building is slowly being confined into the boundaries that you set your expectations for your business, which is not a negative thing. It's a great thing, right? Um, I want to talk a little about Medellin, talking about boundaries and going out of them. Now you're in Colombia, right? Dude, that's like a huge decision. That's not easy. So talk to me about like what the hell happened in the last 4 months.
Medellin's a terrible city. There's drugs everywhere. The girls are actually ugly. Don't ever come here. It's so terrible. Don't do it. That's the
Okay.
running.
Yeah,
That's the,
yeah. Guys,
that's the running
it's
joke
so expensive.
in that community to keep it so
Yeah.
sacred. I say that stuff as a complete joke. When you say it was a hard decision, this was an easy decision for me, bro. Like I came here originally to come meet up with a client. I was supposed to be in Colombia for 3 days. Ended up staying a month on that trip. Went back because my lease was ending in Florida. Put all my stuff in storage. Came back down for another month. Looked at some properties. Looked at some offices, and I was like, I think I live here. Like vivo aquí ahora. I live here now. That's what it is. So then brought a little bit more stuff with me. Brought some podcasts and some gear, like some podcasting gear, some cameras and stuff in with me from the States. And now our first Primo studio, I don't know if you can see it behind me right there, opening up in
Yeah.
Medellin, Colombia, is going to be live within the next 2 weeks. What the hell? We got a brick and mortar business in a third world country with an SAS, which is the LLC in Colombia, all under a legal umbrella. This is crazy, dude. And I think that that everything happens for a reason, and God or the universe or whoever's looking out for you, whoever you believe in, rewards his creations that want to show him their full potential. Whatever you
That's
believe
very
in, I think that whoever's looking out for me is like, man, that motherfucker tries. Like he's putting the work in. I want to realize my full potential. He wants to see his full potential of my creation. Let's reward
yeah.
him. So it wasn't dude, as much as I want to say like yes, Colombia was a 15 move ahead grandmaster chess move that I've been planning all along. It's like, dude, exist and work every day, keep my eyes peeled for opportunities, keep working some more, surround myself with good people, and it's
Yeah.
crazy how many things fall into my lap, you know?
Yeah. Oh
So
yeah, no, absolutely.
I just say
I think
if I could chalk it up to anything, is be good energy. Like when people and I've noticed this a few times. I don't say this to toot my own horn. I say this so that people can feel this and try and implement this in their regular everyday lives. I've been in the lines at the grocery store before where the cashier is visibly having a bad day. Like they're talking to the first two people in front of me. They're like, yeah, 5150, whatever. Here, go, have a good day. And then I'll like pull up, and I don't know like what it is, but like when I stand, I haven't said anything, but when I stand there, the person's energy kind of changes. Like, oh, hey, like how's it going? I don't know if it's the way I carry myself, the expression on my face, but I'm fucking happy to be alive and be doing what I'm doing every single day. So if you can carry that energy with you, not only at the cashier in the grocery store, that's such a minuscule example, but like anywhere, it helps you attract the right people to you. It helps those people be more committed to the vision. It just like more things happen to you when you're a good person and when you lead with value. Hormozy said something about the it was like the giver spectrum, and I don't know if he intended for this to resonate
uh,
so deeply with anyone when he said this, but he's like
yeah,
0 to 10. Average person's 5 on the giver
yeah,
spectrum. Like they take what's theirs, they give a little bit too. They're kind of like even on the scale. Some people are at a 1 or 0. Those people get ostracized from groups very quickly because no one likes them because everyone knows they're there to just take stuff. Tens get
yeah,
walked all over. And I think that finding like dudes like us that just want to put good out there into the world, it's finding the balance between going from 10 to 8. Because 8, you're going to get those opportunities because people know that you're a good person, you're leading with values. But dude, it helps to put the foot down here and there. You can't be a
yeah,
pushover that just like gives everything up. And that's been the kind of mantra of the last month or two. It's been like dialing back from a 10 to like a 9 and 8 of being a giver. Because dude, how I built the company was literally just doing a bunch of shit for a bunch of people for free. Like I'd go to masterminds and I'd make videos for people for free. I'd host people on my podcast, clip it all up into shorts, post it on their social medias for them, and then do the marketing for free just so I get my name out there. And now it's like
yeah,
I gotta sell people now. And then like the people that I was doing stuff for free sent me a bunch of paying clients. Now it's like, okay, now we gotta take what's ours. We have an opportunity to really blow this business out of the water, and I gotta dial it back from a 10 to an 8. And like finding that is really been the tough thing. But I say all that, I'll wrap up my point here of just being a ball of energy and having good intentions. I think that humans, whether they might not be, we might not be the smartest race of all time, the human race, but every one of us has a really good bullshit detector. I could look a guy in the eyes and he could put on the biggest facade of all time and I'll see right through it. And the reality is, even if you're not the most street smart person, you're not the most book smart person, everyone has good bullshit detectors. So guess what? If you're putting on a
yeah,
facade, if you're being a bullshitter, if you have bad intentions, if you don't actually give and you want to be a taker and you're going to put on, oh, I love giving, blah, 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 people are going to notice. And then you're going to lay in bed and be like, I'm such a giver. Why am I not succeeding? Why am I not getting opportunities? It's because your
yeah,
mind's in the wrong spot. You're in it for the wrong reasons. That's
yeah. And
my two.
you know what's funny? I totally agree. And you know what's funny about this, right? Is that you look at these people that like donate thousands of dollars, but then they like have to record it, right? They're like, bro, I'm not gonna give this money to this homeless guy unless you get this sick shot of me doing it, right? So is that a giver or is that a taker? Because he's giving material wealth, but he's taking energy. It's ego. It feeds the ego, right? And people don't see the cash in the hands moving hands. They see the person transacting the cash, right? And so to your point, you can see right through people's damn eyes. You don't even see their eyes. You can just see them, their soul. You know the energy that they carry. And I think to actually answer what you said, I don't know what it is. You being upright, having posture, being positive, even if you're not talking directly and just being at that cashier line, right? It is energy is transactional, right? So that person is going to feed off of your energy. You're going to feed off of their energy, and because you're a guy who's generally very optimistic and curious, you're probably, even if they were very depressive, are probably not just yourself but there to uplift. So there's components to it. I want to ask you a little bit more of a personal question. And that gets very interesting, right? Um, you're like, what is it? What is to this day your biggest fear? What is the thing that is fucking killing you, man? Because I'd be happy to share mine after, but go ahead.
Becoming the average American male that has the same job for 30 years, gets his 2% raise every single year. If they do well enough at 55, they'll be making $200,000 a year, but they work so much that their wife fell out of love with them and is cheating on them with another man that's more present. Their kids don't have a relationship with them. And at the end of the day, they have a little bit of money that they saved and then ends up just wanting to kill himself and ends up getting divorced. That's my biggest fucking fear of all time. And if I end up like that, I went ridiculously wrong somewhere. Like that image of me coming home after a long day and my kids not giving a shit about me and my wife like not acknowledging me, that's scary. That is a major fear. Like I think if you could have as much money as you want, your wife, the way she looks at you when you walk in the door, is the telltale. Like that's it. How does your wife look at you when you walk in the door? Do your kids come
Yeah,
and grab your leg when you walk into the door, or are they gonna continue playing and doing whatever they're doing? Like do they want to see you? Like
yeah,
when you come home and your car drives into the driveway, is your family like, oh my gosh, like daddy's home, or is it like
mm,
this motherfucker's
yeah,
back? Like if it's the latter option, that's my biggest fear. Because if you look at it, 50%, 56%, don't quote me on this, but a high percentage of Americans get divorced, and a lot of it has to do with cheating. And then a
yeah.
lot of
Crazy.
kids don't have relationships with their fathers. Like kids don't have relationships with their parents because the parents went wrong one way or another. So that to me, man, is my biggest fear, and that'll motivate you way more than any kind of money will. Where it's like I'm doing well for myself right now. Like, I don't
Yeah,
I don't say this to brag. I make more than 95% of Americans do, and I live in a country with a devalued currency where if you made what the average American does, you could live like a king. Like
yeah.
that's the reality.
There you
Like,
go.
it's
Great.
not
Yeah,
that. I still want to make more so I can provide for more people. Like I want to put food on the table for more of my team
yeah.
members. I want to be able to go back home for Christmas and buy my aunt a golden retriever farm and be like, hey, let's run this business together. Who cares if it makes money or it doesn't? I just want to see you happy. I want to start a business with my mom because that's a dream that she has to open up a restaurant
Yeah.
together. So I want to be able to do that. Like, dude, it's not the money. Money allows you to just do more things that you want to do.
It's a tool. It's a tool. Yeah. So here's what I'll say, and I fully acknowledge and agree with everything you said, right? And I think a lot of listeners will resonate. But I will challenge one point, and it's a point that a lot of people in the online space have made, and I'm very intentional when I speak about this discussion with people. It's this concept that the 9 to 5 is failure. Allow me to butt in on what I believe is a correction or a corollary to that, right? I'll give you an example, a case study. My uncle, Gabriel, smart guy, love him. He's basically an older brother to me because we kicked the can. He's in his late 20s, right? Now, he's in Manhattan right now. He's a VP of one of the major private equity departments in JP Morgan Chase at the headquarters for South America. So he has direct clients, but he's on W 2, right? Now, the guy makes, mid six figures a year on W 2. So somewhere between zero and a million, he's there. Okay, so that's a lot of fucking money, right? Now, his company, JP Morgan, also rewards him with benefits outside of your traditional health insurance. He gets paid travel to vacation destinations, not 2 weeks a year, regularly to see clients, maybe once a month. Turks and Caicos, this, you name it. Okay, whatever it is, right? And gorgeous, happy, healthy relationship with my aunt, right? Gorgeous couple, right? Healthy, you know, always in the gym, makes time for things, balanced life, which is funny. We talk about balance. It's his balance, right? So here's what I'll say, right? It's not about the career. It's about the person behind it, right? I did the organic thing. I finished what the society told me to do. I got my 2 engineering degrees, right? If I wanted to right now, my entry level salary would be 100, 150K, just like signing the paper, right? Dude, but here's the thing.
More than a lot
Is it
of That's more than a lot of the gurus make. Just to clarify, like a lot of the
yeah,
gurus, know them,
make that
dude,
very clear.
make on a year.
To
So
make that very clear, right?
yeah.
So the kid who's flipping sneakers to struggle to 60K a year, right? So that's the thing, right? Is he going to hit that level based off of the fact that he's selling sneakers? No, right? It's his character. I'm sure if you committed to selling sneakers, you would have made it, but you were misled by the wrong mentors, right? And these are the people that don't make it far. So the thing is I always say the Matrix is called, as it's been dubbed online. The Matrix is actually an issue of character and a lack of personal development. And there are obviously elite power structures that behind things, but it's ultimately about individualism or lack thereof. And I know plenty of people whose 9 to 5s shit on entrepreneurship. So it's really about designing a life that is meant for you, right? And I think one of the strongest things that I've taken away from you, Danny, is that you've designed your life. To your point, you're like, no, Nick, correction. It's an easy decision to go to Medellin, right? Like, fuck, man, like, I'm not going to lie. You've absorbed a higher risk tolerance than I would, right? Because I do think about it more. I'm like, dude, I'll go to Medellin. I fucking love it. I could afford it. It'd be great. But we got this and the other. You know what I'm saying?
Came
So I
here.
respect that.
It's an easy choice.
I'm sure maybe a girl or some. I don't know. I'm joking.
Oh no, dude,
But no,
I will say when
that's
Medellin
valid.
gets brought up, when Colombia gets brought up, it's like it's
Yeah,
like females, cocaine, boom. That's like the parties. It's awesome.
yeah,
Like
of course.
like yes, all of that stuff is here 100%. But there's a reason why like I absolutely smoke other entrepreneurs that are in this area that are in similar like niches to me. It's because I don't do that.
Attractive.
I will never touch
Yeah.
cocaine in my entire life. The day I do, I'll turn into all the bad things of Jordan Belfort. And I really haven't like seen a whole ton of girls here. Like, of course, I go and socialize with women. I don't lock myself in the room all day. But like, did I come here to just like sling as much as I could? No, that's not what I'm here for. That's why like I come to a country like this and crush. Like, dude, we're building brick and mortar businesses here. We have an
Yes.
S which stands for like Security Asset. Look it up, bro. It's LLC, but in fucking Spanish. That we have that here. Getting investor visas here. Like this is legit stuff that takes a lot of time, a big team, and a lot of effort. And if I was here fucking off doing drugs and just like trying to sling as much as I could and get as many girls as I could, I wouldn't be able to talk from this perspective. I just
You
wouldn't.
you probably be back home faster than you think,
Yeah.
right? And that's the thing. Momentum is more important than the absolute like detail of something, right? So absolute detail is important, but in entrepreneurship, if you have an off day, okay, I get that you want to self-deprecate. We all do a little bit as entrepreneurs, but
Like again, like what
okay.
does that mean? Like what is self-deprecate? I'm not this
Well,
educated.
I got you. So I'll paint a picture for you, and this might shiver your timbers a little bit. You might relate to this, right? Okay, you're in the shower. Okay, you didn't get a single sale this day. Okay, matter of fact, you didn't get a single sale this week, and you were supposed to get 2 things done on fulfillment, but it pushed in the calendar, and things are behind on the team side, and you're like, fuck, right? I know that I am the most capable at continuing, and doing what I'm doing, but I'm also going to beat myself up and put the fist on the porcelain in the shower and just sit under the hot one. And you're like, fuck, bro, I could have done so much better for my team today. You know what I'm saying? That's self-deprecation, where you're simultaneously your highest performer, but also your worst critic in that moment, right? That's self-deprecation.
Man, I'm a
You're
self-deprecating God then. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
aren't we all,
never
right?
satisfied
So
with the output. Never.
yeah, aren't we all? Okay, so there we go. It's very, very raw talk about this. So the thing is, right, is when we have our off day where we let that happen too much mentally, right? Because let's be real, on days and off days are not defined by KPIs. They are, of course, to a certain extent, but it's more so because momentum exists on the back end. It's more so where's your mind at as a founder, right? If you're having that off day, right, it compounds. Those off days compound if your momentum slips, but those off days slip away further if your momentum increases. I always say that the biggest solution to suffering as an entrepreneur is to just produce, right? And so, and that's just a harsh reality, right? And so, what's your take on, like, have you been there, especially in the early stages? Talk about maybe a story where you really had to walk in those shoes of difficulty, where your momentum was the biggest hurdle, right? Because you had no money coming out of, well, you had, probably had some, but you had relatively no money coming out of college, right?
Yeah, so to
So,
clarify, I did have really nothing coming out of college, but I'd made money in the past. I'd made like 50 grand before I turned 18, and
what was that?
I lost it all through a Ponzi scheme like right before when I was in college. And then I was like fucking depressed.
Wow.
I had no money. I just lost all the stuff I worked so hard for. So yeah, I
Yep.
didn't really have a whole bunch coming out of college, but and then it was just kind of working up from there. I mean, dude, I worked as like a sales rep when I came out of college. I was making more money than ever. Just to clarify, like now the position I'm in life right now, we're in a really big build phase. The most money I've made month over month has been when I was an employee, has been when I was a sales rep, has been when I was a VP of a different company. Well, now that I have my own
Right.
company, dude, you want to build, dude, you're losing money. Like you said, you want to invest back in your company, you want to invest back in talent, like bro. We lose money all the time. Losing money. If you looked at the paper, would become one of my passions as of recent.
Yeah,
But that's because of super aggressive growth, like
yeah,
aggressively buying into mentors, aggressively buying into courses, aggressively buying into more people, aggressively buying into my content. Dude, I have a videographer that lives with me, bro. I, I
yeah,
aggressively, I aggressively do everything. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it aggressively. And when you're building
yeah.
something, that comes with losing money. So I will say, for anyone listening to this that doesn't have that like burning desire to go be an entrepreneur, I've made the most money as an employee for someone else, as a sales rep for someone else, and so much less stress too. Like you don't want to work on the Sunday, don't. I don't want to work on the Sunday, dude. I have to be working. My team is looking out. There's food that I'm putting on the table for my team,
Yeah.
and if I don't show up, clients cancel, stuff doesn't get done, clients are unhappy, and then as a result, it's a negative domino effect. So just so you know, before, and to your point, where I agree that the 9 to 5 is not a bad thing. It's a bad thing for certain people. Like I will say, like my mom, for example, she came from welfare, dude. Like check to check, straight welfare, ghetto of Syracuse, New York. Like that's where she grew up, and her dream was to go through college, have a good job, and raise a good family. And that's exactly what she did. Like she accomplished her dreams through the
Yeah.
9 to 5, through going to college, through raising the kids. So my
Yeah.
hat is off to her because she accomplished everything that she wanted to as well. So that doesn't mean, well, mom, you should have been an entrepreneur. You'd be more happy. Like my mom is muy cantante, muy feliz, as they say in
Yeah.
Spanish. Like, very happy with what she's done. And she came from literally nothing and was able to give me and my brother a good life. So I agree with your point that the 9 to 5, it's not evil. I was making more money, as I just said, with a
Yeah.
sales job as a like with VP. I was making the most, and when I was a sales rep, I was still making more than I'm making right now. That's just the reality.
And my thing is like, I think people need to take it out of the VSLs. That's my point. Is bro. And you asked earlier, and I didn't directly answer, and I want to address that. You asked Nick. You say authenticity is the new currency. Why? Because you're not going to make damn money unless you're honest anymore.
Yeah.
That's my belief. I genuinely believe that the gurus that are fast MLM pyramid, like that have the fast programs that only generate. Here's what happens: they market really well. They're really good marketers. They get you in their program, which is about marketing the thing that they're marketing, and then they get 10% of their clients' results, which are usually their best friends because they have the most care fulfillment. They then take the bottom 90%, scrape the bottom of the bucket, and reinvest their testimonial assets and landing page assets into the 10% they got the results for, narrowly avoid a lawsuit every month. This is what literally happens, right? I'm literally, and I'm a very transparent guy. I, as a plaintiff, am pursuing a lawsuit against a marketing agency based in Florida, right? There is so much, bro, that people need to realize is held in authentic business. I like to, between me and you, Danny, and the listeners here, and this is what I'm starting to become known for and what I want my personal brand to evolve in. I like doing business the way the mafia did it in the 1920s. Okay? If there's going to be no result, we need to have a discussion. If you're not going to be honest, right? Is this crazy for me to have this opinion as someone who's in the online space?
No.
Maybe it is because the space is kind of that's not the commonality, right? But to your point, it's one thing for people to say 9 to 5s are cool, right? But it's another thing like don't diss it in your not in your VSL if you truly believe that it's an option. You know what I'm saying? Like people need to be more honest, right?
Dude, I'm going to cut you off a little bit because I don't want to lose this point about the mafia because I just thought of it and I think it'll really resonate. I think everyone wants to have that like mafia team and do business like the mafia, but I think that the leaders of these companies are just simply not capable of maintaining mafia level soldiers on their team.
Yep,
That's my take.
I love it. Thank you for saying that. I fucking love that, right? Because it's true.
Everyone wants it,
It's
but you
like
can't have it unless you're a fucking mafia boss, you know.
yeah.
And
If
those
you guys have yeah, bro. If you guys have like 5-10 minutes of spare time, which if you're an entrepreneur, good luck. But if you got some time to sit down, put something on in the background while you're working, I recommend putting on Got Gotti. It's a series that I saw either on Netflix or Prime, and it goes into John Gotti and that whole legacy and the Italian mafia in New York, all that stuff, Chicago. So it's something people don't know here. A lot about the way the mafia conducted business. People think mafia were ruthless killers. The mafia were ruthless killers if you violated basic code of honor and code of principle, right? But if you were someone of character, you were the most cherished, even if you failed. They recognized failure as inevitable, but they recognized dishonesty as fatal. And
mm,
so there's actually a story of how the mafia used to conduct arguments. If there was beef over something tangible, which it would always be illogical because it was never emotional with them. What they would do is they would sit down, the bosses and all of the patriarchy or however it's structured, around a round table over dinner, usually at an Italian restaurant, somewhere private. And what they would do is they'd get a mediator, like almost like a court mediator, but within the mafia, who would sit on the corner of the table, and the two that were disputing would sit one on the end, one on just on the side in the corner, and the rest of the guys would be around the table. This was actual structure. You can look this up. And what they would do is they would settle their beef. But if you lied and if you were blasphemous, meaning like you over exaggerated something, like Danny, you're a fucking badass, as opposed to like, which you're not. I'm just giving an example. You're fucking fit, bro. You got swole. But I'm saying, like, you know what I'm saying? If you inflate something, or if you don't say a fact, or you lie, that was cause for like, you're gonna get your shit chopped off, right? So they had this veil, this soft veil, established a code of honor in that group, which was that you just speak your mind fully, but you don't lie and you don't inflate, right? Every debate was settled internally. The reason the mafia was undefeated by even the best of the police force, central intelligence, in the federal, FBI, everything, is because they were more organized and in agreement than the rest. And the way they did that is through a code of principle and integrity. If we conducted ourselves that way online, not saying that you should look up to the mafia per se, but if we conducted ourselves that way, I think everyone would have a better day at the end of the day as an entrepreneur. Yeah. Right? Yeah, bro.
The biggest mentor I have to this day, the number one thing he drills into my head is like code and honor, like live by code, like have honor. So, I think that the reality is, like, dude, I wasn't thinking that way beforehand, and a lot of people need to get slapped in the face, and make, dude, like, you're being a pussy. Like, you have no code, you're not living by like honor or anything like that. And it's still something that like I'm learning too. And I think that the mafia is a good example of it. And I think that you should be surrounded by people that push that into you instead of trying to bring you into wishy-washy business, bro. If there's one thing I learned in these last couple months, is that no one wants to hear it should, it could, it probably will. It's like it will or it won't. Like what you said, dude, you get ready to take out a loan. Like you're just being very upfront with them too. Like, well, I said it should. Well, it should, but it didn't. But I said it should, so I'm not really in the wrong. Who wants to do business with someone like that, bro? It either will or it won't. I'll make promises to you left and right on shit that I can fulfill. And if I can't do it, I'm just gonna say, like, bro, I don't know how to do that. Like, bro, I think a good example is in the middle of this podcast. You said a word I didn't understand. I think a lot of people would have sat here and said, "Oh, self-deprecation. Oh, I definitely know what that is." And I was like, bro, like, listen to this is a clippable one. An idiot is the one that doesn't ask the question. That is a smart person. Let me restart this, bro. I butchered that one, bro. This is a good one.
No,
Because I said this is a clippable one and then absolutely butchered it.
Oh, I'll clip it. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, I didn't hear what you said, but if you said that I was being an idiot and absolutely butchered it, I would have said correct.
No, I said I'll clip you failing.
Okay, sure. Give me more attention on mine.
There you go.
The smart person is an idiot in the moment for asking the question. The fool is a smart person in the moment for not asking a question. They're idiot for life because they don't know the answer.
Yeah. Wow, that's powerful. Yeah, that's true. That's very, very, very true. Yep. And what you don't know will either save you or will kill you. And so I'd rather know that something's hard than that I'm tossing a coin and that I'll either be saved or killed, right? It's facts, right? Another example comes to Maddie. He might be listening to this, right? He'll be the first to tell you, man. We had a manufacturer lined up for the cereal. They had everything on paper right, but they couldn't get the minimum I needed. They couldn't negotiate numbers with me, right? They were refusing. So I call Maddie. I'm like, hey, we got another manufacturer out here in Washington, right? And it's a risk, but I got to start making dials and figuring out who's going to pivot and take this recipe because I want it made the way we want it, which is organic, no bullshit, no high metal, heavy toxic metal in the protein, very clean products, right? And Maddie will tell you within 2 weeks, I had aligned the next manufacturing partner with the prices we commanded, with the ingredients we commanded. And I call him and I had like strep throat or something. I don't even know what I had, dude. I had like COVID 24 or 23. And I was like, like I couldn't speak, and I had to get the paragraph out to Maddie, and I'm like, all right, I gotta go, I can't talk, bro. That level of dedication, I think, is something everyone who's listening needs to take away into their own business, because I learned that from people above me, right? Is that I was honest with Maddie. I told him, hey, with that first manufacturer, we fucked up. They're not going to proceed with the recipe, right? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find another one. It's that simple, right? And so you have to you set that standard for yourself. You have to perform.
Dude.
I yeah. Go ahead.
I got one more example from literally this morning. So I was here in Medellin. I was getting my hair cut this morning. And for those of you that don't know, in Medellin, you get like the full salon service, 90-minute like
Oh, yeah.
cut. They dye your hair a little bit. They put the face mask on you. They massage your face. They massage your back. They shampoo. They do all this stuff in 90 minutes. And it was taking a little bit longer. I blocked out 90 minutes for it early in the morning. My first call was coming up for the day. And I was I was basically horizontal with like the white face mask on me, cleansing my pores, and I hear my phone buzzing, and it was the first person I needed to call. I pick up the phone. I would really, dude, I was like, I fucking do not want to take this call right now. Just let me enjoy my face mask and be in my glory. My skin
Yeah.
shining today? Is it looking better? No, I'm
Look at
kidding.
John.
But I pick up the call, and it ends up being a massive partnership, like big, big, big business on the line. Where I think that if I would have said, "Hey, bro, just give me 20 minutes," and then called back, the vibes might not have been the same. You might have been busy. I might have not been able to deliver the point the same way. But I literally took the call. My barber was so confused. I took the call. I'm like horizontal, talking like this, like there's hair over the cape. I'm like got my arm like out of the cape like this, taking the call like this, hoping the guy doesn't hear too much buzzing. And it ended up being a very, very big deal that we're going to be closing in on over the next week. So the dedication, man. My barber, you know what he said to me afterwards? He goes, dedicación. I said, that's fucking,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
fucking,
There you go, man.
yeah.
That's awesome, bro. I'd love to hear it. So yeah, bro, this has been a solid like 90 minutes, man. I've learned so much from you. I love talking to you. I think we've dropped so much value in one podcast for the audience. I might split this into two parts, but I'm not gonna lie. I might do 45, 45. I think people should have two morning drives to work with this one. Um, but I want to close with what is one tangible thing that earlier Danny, in the form of somebody else listening to this podcast who's got a business, whether it's brick and mortar, product, service, can take away from something that you learned? This has got to be high level growth. It's got to be something you can really leave with somebody. Maybe something that you haven't told many people.
I have a few like philosophies that I learned that if I could internalize earlier would have really served me well, or I could go with like mega tactical stuff where it's like if you're in this situation, do this. Which would you rather?
If you were in this situation, what would you do?
Okay, I would say. Oh, so I'll tie the two of them together. One of the things I would say is go meet as many people as you can by any means necessary. Sign up for all of the networking events. You want super tactical? Download Meetup. The app is Meetup. It's like a red splash with an M in the middle. You can type in your area and they give you a bunch of different like entrepreneur events that are happening pretty much every single day. If you're a really high level player, you'll go to all of them, even if you do absolutely nothing in the business world. And then what you do when you network with those people, I know I kept talking about this earlier in the podcast. Like, well, what do you do when you're red in the face? You don't want to talk to anyone. I didn't even say what to do yet, so I'll say that right now. You go around, you ask people what the biggest thing they're struggling with. Be so attentive to what they're talking about, like you are their biggest fan. Like, oh my gosh, like Jim, you're doing this business, that's fucking awesome. Try to really care about it too, because if you're not genuine, people are gonna know. Because if you're listening to this and you don't have an awesome, super sexy business that you can go tell people about, you just need to be a fan of other people. I was a very attractive mentee to a lot of people because I was genuinely interested in the people above me. People wanted to take me under their wing because I was high energy and cared about what they were doing genuinely, and I wanted to learn more from them. So become the mentee, and I'll give another one too, because this is the biggest one that I had to internalize recently. It took me longer. People had told it to me before, and I didn't want to believe it. Is there's two different things. There's earning and there's learning. Everyone wants to earn as much as they can right away. You know, how can I make as much fucking cash as possible? Well, let me pinch as many pennies as I can. I want to pay the cheapest VA just to get the job done. I want to upcharge the client as much as I can, give them the shittiest service so I have the highest margin so that I put as much into my pocket. And then I meal prep every single day. I eat the cheapest stuff. I pay the cheapest rent. I live in a hole, or I live with my mom and I don't spend any money so I can have more money. That person, that version of Danny was fucking depressed. I literally was. I was living with my mom in the basement, and I was gonna be like, you know what, this is gonna be my thing. I'm gonna be like mom's basement entrepreneur that runs up like $100 million business off of the basement. It's gonna be my thing. I was depressed, bro. I was in Syracuse, New York, no one to link up with, no people to come camaraderise or whatever you want to call it with, and
Quiet.
I wasn't happy. So if you can shift, especially if you're young watching this, if you have a wife and kids and you need to put food on the table, I'm not talking to you right now. I'm talking to the guy that wants to be super successful, that's young and that has the capacity to take risks. Absolutely take them right now. Like, don't worry about how much you're making, worry about how much energy you can command. If you have to pay more money and go in the hole to command more energy, to have more employees, to impact more people so that your reach is at its highest nature possible, that's more value than any amount of money that you can have. Surround yourself with the right people. Be high energy. Don't be afraid to take risks because guess what, bro? Sooner than later, you're gonna wake up and you're gonna be 35 years old with a wife and kids, and you're not gonna be able to go to Medellin and have a good time because you're gonna need to
Yeah,
put food on the table. You're gonna need
yeah,
the earning,
and
earning over the learning.
yeah, dude, and that's us, man. Like it's funny because people are like entrepreneurs are so detached, bro. Danny, you're not gonna have little ones running around in probably 10 years, right?
If
So
I mess up,
we,
dude, I'll have a little Colombian one running around.
oh
Shit.
boy, there you go, right?
I know, I
So,
know.
but it's a good point, man. Your future is not far. The past is not far, and the future is not far. So, very good point, Danny. This has been eye-opening, super insightful. Where can people find you?
I don't know how wide this screen is, but there at Coolness, if you're watching on the wide screen, I have my Instagram handle right here, which is Coolness, exactly how it sounds, Coolness. That's where you can find me. I'm pushing 2 million followers right now on Instagram. That doesn't mean I don't reply to my messages. I reply to all of them. Send me a message. If you made it this far on the podcast, I care about you. You're clearly committed to this because like I don't make it through a lot of podcasts when I listen to them. So if you made it this far, you're awesome. You're gonna make it. Shoot me a message. I want to be a big resource for you. Brandsharks.com. That's my company. It's not live just yet. The website, we took down our V1 version. Our V2, which is pure value. It's just going to be a bunch of social media courses, bunch of testimonials, bunch of resources for you to look at. It's going to be up right now. It's May 14th. We're recording this. The site will be out by the end of May. So if this comes out in June, look up brandsharks.com for some awesome social media value content. My goal with that is to be having stuff for free online that other people will be charging thousands for. And then if you ever come to Medellin, Colombia, you better pull up to the Primo Studios here in Medellin, Colombia. By the time this podcast comes out, our studios will be up and running. We'll have 2 and a bunch of offices. Come check them out. We'll give you a free cafecito and film for the first time for free if you come in and say, I listened to the Flipping Shelves podcast and I flew to Medellin, Colombia just to see this. So
There you go.
that's
And you made it all the way to the end. There you go.
yeah.
All right. Danny, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you
I've
once
had a
again.
blast, man. I've had a blast. Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate it. All right, bro.